Hi friends, thanks for joining me. I'm going to practice with you today. Just finished my run. I'm here on the beautiful Caribbean island of Bonaire. It's super windy today, so we'll see how this goes. Come to the front of your mat, bring your feet all the way together to touch. Stand up as straight and tall as possible. Start this process of recruiting all parts of your body so that you feel integrated and uniform. Engage the muscles of the legs and draw everything in tight towards the midline. Let your palms be together in front of your heart. Lift the sternum chest up towards the thumbs. Keep the head in a neutral position. Let the eyes close here. And take a moment just to connect to your breath and begin this process of integration, involving fully the body, the breath, the mind. Ignite this Ujjayi breathing. In and out through the nose, but it feels as though it moves in and out through the back of the throat, sounding like the ocean waves, or some say Darth Vader. When you breathe in this way, it's a more full breath, a more relaxed breath. Keep your mind focused on this level of breathing throughout the practice. Smooth, soft, continuous flow. Focused mind. And bow your head down towards your heart for a moment here. And an act of gratitude to yourself. And make an acknowledgement that we don't practice for the benefit of ourselves on a small level. We practice for the benefit of all humanity. Exhale. Release your hands down by your side. Surya Namaskar A 3 times. Inhale, arms up, reach up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward, keep your hands next to your feet, then exhale right back into a push-up position. Inhale, up dog. So we're wasting no time here getting started. Exhale, downward facing dog. Make sure that you have a long downward facing dog here, not too short of a stance. And then for this first downward dog, we'll hold for a little while. You can begin to just sort of move your spine in any way that feels good. If you're doing these spinal waves, just keep an awareness on the 2 palms of the hands that they're pressing into the earth evenly. And first, a lot of people just use the upper body. Begin to then integrate and use the lower body as well. You go in one direction and then reverse and go in the opposite. Come back to stillness. Look towards the belly button, just 2 breaths here. Finish the exhale. Lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward. Lightly come to the front of the mat, lengthen the front body. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way back up. Palms touch, look up. Exhale, Samasthiti. 2 more times. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take the weight of the body over into the left foot. Stretch the right leg up 10 times here. Point the toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep everything else stable and fully even on the ground. Weighted. 9, and 10. Place the foot back down onto the ground. Adjust the pelvis, the shoulders, and lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward. Come lightly to the front of the mat, lengthen the front body. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, Samasthiti. 1 more time. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, Chaturanga. Don't drop too low in the shoulders. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stabilize over onto that right leg, and then the left leg goes up 10 times. Now point the toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Exhale, place the foot back down. Reset the shoulders and the pelvis, then lift the heels, look forward as the knees bend, and lightly come to the front of the mat. Lengthen the front body. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Surya Namaskar B, just 2 times. Drop the buttocks down. Utkatasana. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right into chaturanga. Skip plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. That right leg comes forward for warrior one on the right side. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, right back into chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg comes forward, warrior one on the left side. And then exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up. And exhale, downward facing dog. Go ahead and stabilize onto that left leg. Lift the right leg up here. Bend the knee. Open the hip to your maximum. And if you want to drop all the way over, by all means, go ahead. So you can stay here a few breaths, just opening the hip. And when you feel ready, the foot comes as far back towards that hand as possible, and the chest opens here. You can imagine that right fingertip is eventually going to touch down onto the ground. It doesn't have to today. Exhale, come all the way out of it gracefully, resetting the shoulders and the pelvis. Then the heels lift, the knees bend. Inhale, right back to the front of the mat. Lengthen the front body. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, arms up, look up. Exhale, Samasthiti. One more time, just like that. Inhale, arms up, look up, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen here, and then exhale right into chaturanga. Skip plank. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg comes forward, warrior one on the right side. Inhale, up, keep the hips low. Exhale, chaturanga. If you have variations that you like to take, definitely add them in. Left leg forward, warrior one. It's your practice. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Go ahead and lift that left leg up now. Bending the knee, opening the hip here. Stay just a breath or two if you're flipping over. First, just open the hip. Then get that foot as far back to the shoulder as possible. And then you round out of the posture flipping over. And the fingertips of that right hand or that left hand, it's like they're going to come all the way to the ground. The buttocks squeeze here to protect the lower back. One more breath. And then exhale. Slowly and gracefully reverse your way out of it. First, reset the shoulders and the pelvis. And then use that wave motion. Inhale. Come all the way to the front of the mat. Lengthen the front body. Exhale. Fold. Utkatasana on the inhale. Then hold here in Utkatasana. We'll start staying in our standing poses for a few breaths each. Look up towards the thumbs. Arms are totally straight here. Feel as though the arms are shooting out from the heart. Inhale. As you exhale, take that left hand outside the right leg and inhale. Open that right arm up to the sky. Look to the thumb. Inhale, come back through center. Now that right arm comes outside of the left leg. Inhale, open up, look to the thumb. Keep the weight even in the heels and the ball of the foot here. One more breath. Then inhale, come right back through center. Exhale, fold here. Step the feet just about hips width distance apart. Reach down, grab for the big toes, Padangusthasana. Pull the big toes up as you lengthen and stretch the front body. Stay here, don't fold in the posture. Push the thighs apart from one another. Press down through the base of the big toe. Lift the chin. Draw the shoulders away from the neck, away from the ears. One more inhale. And now exhale. Take the complete fold. Look up towards the belly button as you compress. Continue to pull up strongly on the big toes here as you push the big toes down. Inhale, lengthen, stretch the front body. Then exhale, hands come right underneath the feet for Padahastasana. The toes go all the way up to the wrists here. Push the feet into the hands. At the same time, pull the hands up. Again, don't fold yet. Stretch as much as possible, lifting the buttocks up. Press the knees back slightly. Push the thighs apart from one another. Feel what effect this has on the low belly. Look forward. Inhale. Now we're going to take the fold. Exhale here. Look up towards the belly button. Really push the backs of the wrists into the ground by pressing the feet down. And then inhale, lengthen the front body here. Take the hands down to the ground. Step the feet back together. Then bend the knees as you come into a squat position. The feet can stay together or be apart here depending on your flexibility. Stretch the arms out in front of you. So the arms take on this child's pose position. You're up on the tips of the fingers here. The knees are widening, but the inner edge of the foot does not lift off of the ground. And then keep the legs exactly as they are. Bring the arms up now. Bring the palms of the hands together. The outer upper arms push outward, and at the same time, the inner knee pushes inward. So these two opposing actions. Every posture in yoga has opposition. Finish the exhale and inhale. The hands come down onto the ground. The knees lift high up off the ground. Step the feet back slightly, preparing for Bakasana. I'm pretty sweaty and slippery. It actually makes the challenge much more exciting. Push down through the hands. Lift up here. If you're playing around with the posture, just play around. No stress. Take one big inhale. Exhale, right back into Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take that right leg, bring it all the way to the front of the mat. Let that left knee drop to the ground and then slide that left foot back here as you come down onto the elbows. Just holding here, opening up that hip flexor for a moment. Whether you run or not, these are often pretty tight in people. And keep that left hand on the ground, lift the right arm up, look up to the thumb. And exhale, place that hand back down onto the ground. Watch what you're going to do here. So you're going to lift up. The legs are going to straighten. The body stays low. Then walk yourself to face the wide edge of the mat. Take the hands back between the feet slightly. Push down. Prasarita Padottanasana. Lengthen the front body, just like in the forward folds that we did a moment ago. Don't fold. Instead, stretch more. Lift the chest more. And think about pressing the base of the palm even more firmly into the ground. Hold here. You should be studying your body and your mind and your breath in these postures, noticing how they change as the body maneuvers differently. And stretch the arms forward here. You're coming into a downward facing dog position with the upper body. Let the ears come in between the upper arms. If you find you have a limited range of flexibility in this posture, stay here. Otherwise, take the hands back now and come all the way into Prasarita Padottanasana A. We'll stay here for a few breaths. If this is good for you, then you stay here, or you stay in the variation just before. If you want to go all the way up into tripod headstand, just take the weight into the hands and into the head and slowly lift yourself up. So we're going to hold this posture for a while, depending on what level you're in. Just stay where you're at today, envisioning what next level you may or may not eventually get to. Let that not be the focus of your practice, getting somewhere. Let the focus of your practice be being here, wherever you are. So stay in whatever variation of the posture you're in. If you're here with me now, I'm going to bring the knees down to the upper arms and back up 5 times. So the legs bend, the knees come down, quick touch, and then push and inhale back up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stretch the legs all the way back up. Hopefully your mat hasn't rolled like mine in the wind. Exhale and slowly reverse out. The legs go wide. Just before the feet touch the ground, pause, hover just a moment, and then exhale and place the feet back down. Regardless of what variation of the posture you're in, lift the chest up here. Exhale, inhale, come all the way out. Turn towards the back edge of the mat. Now we're going to open the hip flexor on the back side so that left leg is facing the back edge of the mat. You scoot that right leg way back, and then inhale. Bring the left arm up, or the left arm up. Look to the thumb. And exhale, place that hand down. We didn't stay here for just a moment. Stay here. It's worth doing these postures every single day and keeping the body supple and flexible. So once more, now you're going to come off of the back knee as you lift that leg up, straighten both legs. Turn towards that wide edge of the mat once more. Inhale, come all the way up. The feet shouldn't be too far apart so you feel unstable. Exhale, the hands come behind you. Inhale, lengthen and lift the front body, and then exhale and dive forward. The hands come around the back body. You come either to the back of the head or the crown of the head, and then the hands reach down towards the ground. Inhale, come up slowly, releasing the hands, take the elbows down to the ground, and then exhale and slide the feet apart from each other, coming into this wide leg split position or as close to it as you have. Hug the lower belly up and in. Really feel the inner groin stretching here. Stay longer than the mind wants to. It does two things. One, that strengthens the mind, strengthens the tenacity of the mind, or we'll say tapas. And then two, it allows the body to open up more. So a good rule of thumb is always stay a little longer than you want to. Walk the feet back in towards each other, and then turn to face the front edge of the mat for full splits. So if you have the full splits, you'll take them now. Arms come up and come forward, or you can take some variation of the splits, whatever is right for you. Inhale, lengthen, stretch the front body, then lift yourself up and rotate to face the back edge of the mat. If you have the full splits, you take the splits, you inhale, arms up, exhale, descend forward. Otherwise, you can keep the body lifting here. You can bounce slightly. Just take whatever variation of the splits you're at right now. And inhale, arms come back up. And turn yourself to the wide edge of the mat. Take the hands back slightly, and then come to sit all the way onto the buttocks. So the feet should be pretty wide apart here. You want to walk them in slightly closer to one another. Move the flesh of the buttocks out of the way. Then inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, reach out. Grab the outer edges of the feet, lift the chest here, And instead of coming forward, stay lifted. Lift and lengthen as though you're going to place the chest way far out in front of you. Maybe there's a wall in front of you. So you're in a class and you see somebody fold all the way into this, their chest comes down to the ground easily. Then you see another person who stays in this upright position longer, and you think the person that's deeper in the pose is actually stronger, but you notice now it takes quite a bit more effort to stay lifted. One more inhale. Exhale here. Inhale, the arms come all the way up. Look up. Exhale, that right arm comes inside the right thigh. The left arm comes up and over and grabs the outer edge of the foot. If it can't grab from over the head, you can grab in front of the head and reach for the outer edge of the foot. Then look up to the sky. Exhale. Inhale, swing all the way up, and exhale in the opposite direction. And inhale all the way up. So we're going to take Kurmasana. You can bend the knees here slightly. I think it would maybe be better. Actually, I'm going to face you more. So the knees bend here slightly. The chest comes down towards the floor. The arms come underneath the knees here. Once the arms come under the knees, then you work to straighten the legs and push the backs of the thighs into the arms. Bring the chin to the ground. Point the toes here. You can actually play around with pointing versus flexing and see how that changes the posture for you. Finish the exhale. Inhale, slide the feet in. Don't take the arms out from underneath you. Instead, bring the knees all the way to the backs of the upper arms. And then you can cross the ankles, or I'm going to wait to cross the ankles. I'm going to push my hands into the ground, lift my buttocks up, and then cross the ankles. We're going to hold here just a few breaths. Think about lifting the butt up and straightening the arms as much as possible. So although the lower body is supported on the upper body, you want to find this place where eventually the lower body supports itself. And then stretch the legs out, tilt yourself forward, and slowly reverse out, coming back through Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, come all the way up, and exhale, come back to the front of the mat. Stabilize yourself onto that left leg. Stretch the right arm out in front of you. Then inhale, swing that right leg up and reach out and grab the big toe here for Utthita Hasta Padangustasana. We won't take the fold. Just stand straight up, stretching the leg more and more. The standing leg is straight. The extended leg is straight. The chest is lifting. Notice as you hold the posture, the body opens more, but also the understanding of how to open the body increases. Then exhale, open the leg out to the side, and look in the opposite direction. Inhale, the leg comes back through center. Now release the big toe, point the toe here, stretch the arms up overhead, hold here. And exhale, slowly release, go to the opposite side. So I like to take my hand way high up on my rib cage, and that left hand stretches out in front of me. Inhale, swing the left leg up, grab for the left big toe, and straighten the leg here. That grip on the big toe should be quite strong. The chest lifts. Exhale, open the leg out to the side, look in the opposite direction. So I often get questions about how do you move your vision without falling. And I learned by taking small steps. So you don't turn your head all the way at once, but instead you look for the next point and the next point to establish a stable vision. And then you jump from point to point until you make it all the way to your destination. Inhale, bring the leg back through center. Eventually you get so good at it that you don't have to jump anymore from point to point, and you can easily go from one vision in front of you all the way to the side without losing your balance. So hold here. It's okay if the leg is shaking. And exhale. Slowly release. And we'll take ourselves down to the ground through a vinyasa. Inhale, arms up, stretch up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Now we're going to hold upward facing dog for about 5 counts here. Press the whole tops of the feet into the ground. Lengthen the chest. Imagine that you're pressing the chest forward and look up. And then exhale. Roll over the tops of the feet. Come into downward facing dog. Inhale. Lightly come to the front of the mat. Set up for Ustrasana, camel pose. So if you need to have the heels lifted, the heels can be lifted. Or if you have a block and you need to use a block, use a block. Otherwise, the hands come onto the hips here. Inhale. Press down at the buttocks. Squeeze the buttocks together slightly. Begin to lean back and look back. The chest doesn't lean back, it actually lifts up. And once you grab the ankles, the feeling here is not that you're dropping down into the ankles, but you're pulling the ankles up so that you stretch the front body even more. Remember, stay a little longer than you want to. Inhale, come slowly up. Take a child's pose for a moment here. Finish that exhale. Inhale, bring yourself all the way back up. Now you can repeat that camel pose, or you can work on your Kapotasana, depending on where you're at in your yoga practice. I'm going to work on my Kapotasana here, so just decide for yourself. You can also see what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave my legs, my lower body in the same position as if I were going into Virasana. Now I'm going to take my hands to the meat of the calf, and I'm going to begin to walk that knee forward as I slowly come back and bring the head to the ground. I'm going to hold here for a few breaths. If you can reach the knees, then you use the hand grip on the knees. The crown of the head more towards the forehead is into the ground. Then I'm going to take my hands behind me like a wheel pose and press them into the ground. Get this lift in the chest. Squeeze my buttocks together strongly. Begin to walk my hands back a little further. And then take the weight off the hands, palms together. Slowly come up, right back into a vinyasa. The hands come down to the ground, chaturanga. Vinyasa is like wipe the slate clean, up dog, and downward facing dog. One more time, lightly come forward onto the knees, the front of the mat. Take the knees all the way together, push the calf muscle out to the side, and then come into this Virasana pose, sitting between the two heels. So the heels are right outside the feet. The way I learned it was that in Virasana, you should just barely be able to swipe a credit card between the inner heel and the outer thigh. I'm from California, so we really love credit cards. But maybe you're Dutch and you guys don't use as much credit. So for you, you'll have to think of your own analogy. Let's take the hands onto the bottoms of the feet, press down, lift the chest. Look forward here, keep the eyes open. And take the arms out in front of you, interlace the fingers, press the palms away from you here as you connect the tips of the thumbs. Exhale. Then inhale, bring the arms all the way overhead. Feel here like you're pushing the buttocks down while at the same time bringing the palms higher and higher upwards. The chin stays neutral to the ground. Exhale, bring the arms down just to eye level and change the interlace so that opposite pinky finger is on the bottom. Then the tips of the fingers come together. Inhale, the arms come up. And exhale, stretch the arms apart from each other. Go ahead and lie back here so you can either, I have to loosen the skin from the tops of the feet because it gets stuck. You can either stay up onto the elbows or however far you can get back. Or you can come all the way back onto the ground. If you come all the way back onto the ground, then the elbows interlace and stretch behind the head. So eventually in this Supta Virasana pose, you want to have your spine take on the quality of its natural curve. So just notice how lifted the lower back is here, if it's really out of alignment, and work to try to find more of a neutral spine. Exhale. Inhale, slowly come up. Notice how you want to rely on one side more heavily than another as you come up. Try to make it as even as possible. And then lift yourself up. Be very gentle onto the knee joints. And take yourself back here slightly to set up for headstand. So if you take headstand at the wall, then you'll want to go to a wall right now. Otherwise, you can stay in the mat. The fingers interlace all the way to the webbing. The hands connect completely to the back of the skull, and then you lift the knees off of the ground. Walk the feet in slightly here. Push through the elbows, push through the wrists, and lift both legs up. So wherever you are in the world, however you're doing your headstand variation, we're going to stay here for about another 10 count. Then we're going to come out of it and come through chaturanga. So if you've never done this before and you're in full headstand, stay with me. If you've never done this before and you don't have your headstand yet, don't worry about it. We'll just end our posture with a vinyasa. So about 3 more breaths here. So if you're coming out of this with me through chaturanga, the legs come down about halfway. Then once they reach down about halfway, push through the elbows, the forearms, and stretch the legs out. So now you're in this low plank. Unfold the hands from one another, and then just lightly lift yourself up and come forward, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to take Virasana, elbow balance. Again, if you don't have elbow balance, it's no big deal. Just what I'm doing, you don't have to do. You do your own level of it. So if you don't have elbow balance, then you want to come onto your elbows and just play around with taking weight onto them and coming off, maybe walking forward, lifting one leg up, just small lifts and bounces. The other leg, small lifts and bounces. If you have your elbow balance, then you come in whatever way you're working on. You can also use a wall. The wind really adds this extra layer of challenge here on Bon Air. So it's time to work on the posture. And that means that it shouldn't be perfect. You should be working on it. Finish up, exhale, come down, come back to your mat if you were at a wall, and then inhale, lift yourself up right back through chaturanga. Jump all the way, or right back through up dog, jump all the way forward and come to lie on your back. do a few back bends before we end our practice. So I try to make every practice for myself, if I'm not doing a straight rocket practice or progressive Ashtanga practice, try to make it as well-rounded as possible, stretching in all directions, moving in all planes of the body. So you can lie onto your back here. You're welcome to take a bridge pose if that's right for your practice today. I'm going to go right into full wheel, no messing around. When it's a short practice, you want to get what you love in. So the hands come back by the ears. Press myself right up. I'm going to do the pose 3 times. If you're taking a bridge pose, then you can stay for the entire time, or you can come out a few times. This first time, I'm going to go into my Virasana. I'm going to work on opening the chest slightly by rocking back and forth. Weight in the hands, weight in the feet, weight in the hands, weight in the feet. And then I'm going to come down. Just a few breaths here, down onto the ground. And then one more time, push myself up. This time I'm going to step my hands back a little bit farther. Make sure my toes are pointed forward. It's really about squeezing the buttocks together, especially the upper buttocks at the very low back, flowering out from the belly button. And then come down. This last time when I go up, I'm going to take myself all the way up to a standing position. You can come out of it however is right for you, coming back to the ground and then rolling yourself through a vinyasa. Either way, after this last time, whether you're in bridge pose or Urdhva Dhanurasana, let's take a vinyasa to get out of it. So I'm going to come into bridge pose, walk my hands back, or not bridge pose, but full wheel. And then I'm going to slowly stand up out of that bridge pose, or out of that full wheel, coming all the way to the front of the mat. You can roll yourself out of it, bring yourself through a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Remember, a vinyasa is like a clearing set of postures, so it takes the slate and wipes it clean by moving your body in all these various directions. And then go ahead and come forward onto your mat. We're going to take shoulder stand before a final twist and ending our practice for today. So lie onto your back, stretch your legs out in front of you, and then swing your body up and grab the back of the body with your hands. Come to rest onto the tops of the shoulders. So, it's so funny in all the different styles of yoga, how things can change so much. In the Iyengar style, of course, we definitely are always using blankets or some support. And that's because the head gets stuck. And it can be hard to get onto the tops of the shoulders and really get therapeutic benefits in the body if you're not very open. So if you need to, I'll show you that. You can bring your feet to the ground and then really work onto the tops of the shoulders. Or by all means, take some blankets and really make this a juicy shoulder stand. We're going to stay here about 10 more breaths. Notice the effect shoulder stand has on the mind. Why we so often put it at the end of a practice. Sarvangasana, also called the mother of all asana. Exhale, slowly release. Look back behind you so that the head stays onto the ground. Don't let the head pop up. And then Press yourself back. Come to sit onto the two hands here. Point the toes and lift yourself up. Come to the crown of the head. The elbows can walk in towards one another to really lift the chest. Exhale and slowly release. Lift yourself all the way back up and then come to a seated position. So the right leg is going to come back into this hero's pose. That left leg is going to come into half lotus. If you don't have half lotus, you can cross the leg lower down. If you do have half lotus, then you can take the bind. The hand comes to the big toe. And then that right hand comes underneath that left knee. Look behind yourself. Exhale. We'll go to the opposite direction. So stretch the legs out in front of you and lean over towards the right as you bring that left leg back into hero's pose. The right leg comes into half lotus. Reach around, grab the big toe here. The hand comes underneath the knee. I really learned in an Ashtanga, with an Ashtanga teacher I had, that the knee has to push strongly down into the hand. The wrist pushes into the knee, and then look back. No part of the body should be uninvolved in this posture. Everything is working. And then exhale and slowly release. Let's take a final vinyasa. All you do is just gently take yourself back into chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then right where you are, come to lie onto the ground for Shavasana. Stretch the legs out away from you. Stretch the arms out away from you. Tuck the shoulders under and then let them widen and spread onto the ground. Take up space here, especially if you have it. It's like when you have space to take up, but you refuse to. It's really an act of violence against others who have no space. Use your gratitude and appreciation for what you have to use what you have as an act of love and kindness to others. Let your eyes close. Observe here what you feel. You're looking for this sinking feeling, as though the energy of the body that usually stays most obvious at the very surface of the skin, the surface of the sense organs directed outward. You want to feel as though that energy begins to drop into your body. And so it's not that the surface of the skin or the sense organs become dull or deadened. It's that they become less animated. Just notice your exhales. No effort. This clarity of mind, rest inside this clarity of mind. I encourage you to stay here for as long as it feels right for you, ending your practice at your own pace and your own time. Thanks for joining me again today. May all beings be free of suffering. May all beings have happiness. Namaste.